Oh, hi.
Hey,
So first, I want to thank you for doing this. You and your whole team.
you're very welcome.
Uh, and
Thank you
now
for
I'm just
coming.
gonna thank you, and then I'll just set the scene. I guess you can call me Puns, by the way.
Puns?
Uh, Puns, yeah, Puns blazing. So Puns for
Puns.
short.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Puns. Got it.
So, how
That's great.
does
Puns
one?
blazing is a pun in and of itself.
Thank you. How does one deal with like short fuse, and not anger issues, just initial like outraged visceral responses or like feelings? Um, for example, whenever someone says or does something, and even if I don't say anything, I would have this initial like my heart started beating faster, and I get sweaty palms, and like I feel like I'm holding my breath, um, because it's something that my sister is the same way, and we've talked about it, and like 99% we got it from our parents, but uh, it's just something I've noticed, and I don't know exactly how to like deal with it because it becomes more apparent for me because usually I go from like super passive or like calm to like you know very active, I guess, or engaged with whatever we're doing. And often what like triggers it is not even important topics. It happens even when I'm like gaming, for example. Like a friend messes up like a mechanic or something, and I get the feeling of like, oh my god, what are you doing? And then it also manifests whenever I'm like talking, and we're like arguing or debating on stuff.
Oh, okay. Are you okay, hold on. Can I think for a second? Puns?
Of course, yeah. Sorry, I just throw a lot on at you at once.
No, it's fine. It's actually very helpful. I'm just processing. What I'm hearing is that it's not like something personal. It's just like your mind gets caught up with things like arguments or gaming.
Yeah, or something that like an event that happens.
Can you give me an example?
Um, okay, so maybe someone like breaks something like in the house, or does something like considered stupid, and then or like messes up something obvious, and my initial response is like, "Oh my god, how could you do that?" Even if I don't say anything, that's like my like instinct reaction to it.
Puns, would you say that you're intolerant of the stupidity of others?
Um, I wouldn't say so. I've accepted that most people do stupid stuff, myself included sometimes.
Then why do you get upset when they do stupid stuff?
I don't know. I feel like part of the reason is, uh, when I was growing up, a lot of the times, like my dad, for example, he means like we mean the world to him. He does everything for us, but like often, like even if we do something like somewhat right, he'll be like, "Okay, you should have also done this though," and stuff like that. Like he wants us to be like the best we can, and I
Do
know it
you
comes from a place
do
of a
you
good like.
expect do you expect other people to be the best too?
Uh, no, but I have thought about this, and I know I put myself to like impossible standard, and I feel like sometimes that initial reaction is me putting the standards for me on other people, if that makes sense.
Is that what happens?
I'm not 100% sure, but it makes sense when I think about it.
Okay. So, puns, we've got two options here. One is it sounds like you're very pitta. So I would love to just see your face because I'm curious whether you have color in your face, whether you have like medium features.
We can do that if you want.
Yeah, let's. Can you just turn on video real quick? I don't have to stream it. I'm just curious
All
what
right,
you look
because
like.
my room is very messy.
That's okay. So there are two things here. One is like we normally take like the psychological angle, right? Of like figure out, what like, oh, like you're putting these expectations that your dad put on you on other people, like, oh my God. So we take that angle, which it sounds like you're pretty familiar with. So I would encourage you to explore that. The second thing that you could do is balance your Ayurvedic dosha. So if we think about like you're asking me not how to deal with the impulsive anger, but how to prevent the impulsive anger, right? How to stop the short fuse in the first place. And so that's where I encourage you to think a little bit about expectation and what you expect from other people, because I would suspect that it is other people's inability to live up to your expectations that leads to the shortness of fuse. So you're just asking a lot of them, right? Like, especially if you're playing a game.
It's messing up. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Not the end of the world if you can't get it to work, but
yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to waste your time.
it's okay. I think you're kapha and pitta, I think. So like I noticed that you had like some redness, like especially around your cheeks and stuff. It doesn't look quite like acne. Do you have acne?
No, but my skin gets very dry.
Dry, and does it get red?
Yes.
Okay. And so we can't, I didn't get very good look because it was blurry. But so the other thing that you can do is reduce your pitta. Do you know what that is?
Can you remind me?
Yeah. So in Ayurveda, so in Western medicine, we think like everyone's mind is the same, right? Like we say that, we don't sort of say that they're different kinds of minds. So we know that like in physical attributes, like some people have red hair, some people have black hair, some people have brown hair, some people have blonde hair. And in the same way, there are different versions of like mental faculties. So it's not just like IQ, but then like we sort of know that some people are artistic, some people are creative, whatever. Some people are like more mathematical. But actually, Ayurveda says that even like our emotional responses to stress come in 3 buckets. So some people get anxious, some people get depressed, and some people get angry. So anytime we put pressure on your mind, you may be more likely to respond with a short fuse. And so if you want to reduce that intrinsic like approach to anger, what you need to do is reduce your pitta. So pitta is reduced. So it's kind of weird, but Ayurveda sort of says that there are like these 3 elemental qualities that sort of are correlated with certain mental and physical attributes. High pitta, for example, is associated with anger, irritability, ulcers, indigestion, and like hypertension, for example.
Okay.
So if you reduce your pitta and you have any of these problems, all of those problems will get better. And in your case, what I would suggest is that do you like yogurt?
I like everything.
Okay, so I know this is going to sound really weird, and it's not going to make a huge difference, but if you do it for a little while, it'll probably like a couple months. I'd be curious to see whether it helps with your short fuse. But what I would say is take plain yogurt, okay, no like sugar or fruit or anything like that. Take plain yogurt, use like, get like a 8 or 10 ounce glass. You sound like European, so let me just think about, like 300 mLs. So like take like 300 ml glass and put 100 ml of yogurt and 200 ml of water and mix it together into a drink. It'll be kind of like a weird, like sour, cool drink. And I want you to drink that.
We have that drink. I'm from Bulgaria and we have that drink. It's called Ayran.
What, does it have sugar or anything?
No, it's just yogurt and water, as you said.
Do you drink that?
I haven't had it probably in like 2 years.
Okay, so, but no sugar, okay? So make Ayran and drink it like 5 days a week for like 2 months. And it should help your anger. I know it sounds weird.
I mean, it's the body, so it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And so
I didn't expect this. Yeah.
From a scientific standpoint, so like, the things that we put into our gut are okay, so I'm going to share a paper on stream for a second, and then I'll share it with you too over. Are you watching stream?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so I'll just share it on stream, okay? So like this is just a really interesting paper that shows that the bacteria in your gut. Oh, look, this is in Zagreb, sort of in your neighborhood. But so role of gut microbiota in the interaction between immunity and psychiatry. So like this is just a paper that talks about like we showed the links between your gut microbiome and your brain gut axis regulation, behavioral variations, and neuropsychiatric disorders. So what that means, let me try to find one because I think there's actually something about anger here. No, this is the one that has anger. But there's actually a paper, I can't find it right now, that talks about people with autism who have very angry like outbreaks and like throw things and temper tantrums and stuff. And that actually adjusting their gut microbiome actually reduces the number of temper tantrums that people with autism will throw. And so I'm not quite sure if this is how it works, but thousands of years ago, Ayurvedic physicians basically said people who have short fuses should drink Ayran like every day. And they noticed that people who drink Ayran have fewer short fuses or have a longer fuse. And now we have some evidence that at least there's a connection between, because if you think about Ayran in yogurt, like what's in there, there's going to be lactobacillus and bacteria in there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so you don't want to drink it like bottled or pasteurized or whatever, because that'll kill off all the bacteria. But something about that may actually adjust the way that your gut bacteria is, which in turn will affect something called dysbiosis, which is like inflammation in your gut, which actually has mental effects.
Okay. So are there any foods or drinks I should avoid?
Yeah, so you want to avoid spicy foods. You want to try to eat raw foods. And you want foods that are cool if possible. So salad is very good for you.
Okay, you just killed me because I love spicy food.
Yep. So this is the problem with pittas, is that oftentimes the foods that you like are the ones that are worse for you. And so what I want you to notice, though, is as you start to eat cooler foods, there's two kinds of love, okay? There's going to be something that feels really aligned with you, and there's something that feels very balancing to you. Like me as a Vata, I love doing 1,000 things in one day, but I also find that like if I do 1,000 things in one day, it's sort of like it feels really good in the moment, but it doesn't feel balancing. I actually feel really good when I like start my day off grounded. It's kind of different. There's a different kind of feels good. One is like a balancing feels good, and one is like an exciting feels good. It's like, let's go, buddy. But then it's sort of like, no, that's actually not good for me. And as you start to eat colder foods, you'll see, how you start to feel different. And it'll start to feel like kind of cooling, refreshing, sort of countering the way that you feel.
Okay. So going for like fruit salads, as you said, just raw foods would help me in the long. Okay.
Yep. And try not to mix fruit and vegetables in one sitting.
Okay. Any specific reason or?
Yep, because their digestive profiles are different. And so for optimal digestion, you want to eat them separately.
What would you say is like a good space between those? Like time?
Hour and a half, 90 minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Wait, can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Wait, so are kale smoothies bad then? For digestion?
So when we say bad, right, let's remember that there's like hierarchies of health. So like if your option is between a hamburger and a kale smoothie, go kale smoothie. But if you really want to optimize your digestion, you actually should not mix different kinds of macronutrients. And there's a really simple logical reason for this. You guys ready for it? Yay? Nay? Okay. Who knows what a lipase is? Does anybody know what a lipase is? I'm asking chat. Anybody know? If you guys know, French, you know? Yeah, it's an enzyme.
Yeah.
So it's an enzyme that breaks down fat. So then there's also something called an amylase, which is an enzyme that breaks down carbohydrates. And then there's something called a protease, which is an enzyme that breaks down protein. Now, when I drink, let's say I just eat, so what happens is when I put food in my mouth, the tongue and neurons, receptors in my mouth, detect what I'm eating. And what they do is they tell my digestive enzymes, they secrete the appropriate digestive enzymes from the stomach and gallbladder and intestines. So when I eat like a cake, for example, that's carbohydrate and carbohydrate and fat, it sends signals to my gut and it says, hey, we need lipase and we need amylase. Now, the tricky thing is that if I just eat one macronutrient, if I eat just protein, for example, then like I tell my gut to secrete protease. And then I have 100 units of protein that I swallow, and I have 100 units of protease, so my digestion is 100%. Because in my stomach, there's like protease that's floating around with the protein, and so the digestion works out great. The problem is that if I eat, for example, different kinds of things together, if I eat partially carbohydrate, partially protein, and partially fat, then I've got 3 different kinds of macronutrients floating around in my stomach and 3 different kinds of enzymes floating around in my stomach. And so the chance that a carbohydrate molecule hits an amylase is only 30%. So that what that means is that there's like improper digestion. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the problem with smoothies, if you talk to Ayurvedic or naturopathic physicians, they'll say that smoothies are not good for you. I mean, it's not that they're not good for you. Like servings of fruits and vegetables are still really healthy for you. But as you like, if we think about, what's like, is a burger healthy? Well, like it depends on what you're comparing it to, right? So like things are not healthy in isolation. There's like a hierarchy of health. And if your problem is that you eat very unhealthy throughout the entire day, I'd say by all means have a kale smoothie and get like 2 servings of fruits and vegetables and fiber and all that good stuff. But if you want to go to the next level, right? So this is where like the yogis who meditated and tried to gain enlightenment realize that they're like very, very fine tuning to like really optimize your DPS. The higher you want to get on the DPS meters, the more fine tuned you want to be. And so eventually, like a kale smoothie is really good if you're like, in the bottom 80% of health. But if you're in that top 20% and you want to optimize your digestion, you should split up some of those macronutrients into separate meals. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I shouldn't have a problem because I would rather eat like 2 oranges than have like orange juice.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
And also that psychological stuff is totally legit too. I mean, by all means, think about, whether you get pissed at people because your dad got pissed at you. Like you should do that psychological work. Like, how did it feel when, you were never good enough for him?
It wasn't even like that. It's more like just being very critical.
Sure. Yeah. So I think look into that stuff too, but it's a good Ayurvedic kind of perspective.
Okay. Oh, that diet thing completely new element in my equation.
Yeah, good. So that's going to be the lowest hanging fruit, no pun intended.
Oh, please intend. Yeah.
Right? So it's the areas that we haven't considered that we can oftentimes get the most benefit from.
Okay. I will do that then. I will buy it tomorrow.
Okay. Make sure
Great.
it's not... So, puns, if it's pasteurized, then you need to get yogurt that has active cultures and make it yourself.
Okay. It's going to be a bit difficult because I live abroad right now for my studies. So they don't have like the best
Just get yogurt.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, do the best that you can.
I will. Thank you so much.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good day. Yeah.
You too.
It's daytime for you. Bye-bye.